Hello, hockey fans. Only one game took place tonight. Game 5 between the Minnesota Wild and the Colorado Avalanche, and we entered this thing up 3 games to 1, looking to advance to the Western Conference Final for the first time since our magical run in 2022. While the Wild had their backs to the wall and looked to earn one more game back in St. Paul. So let's take a look. Let's take a look bit by bit, period by period, at what took place tonight. Ay, caramba. You know, it reached the point where Avalanche fans wondered if we were allergic to actually clinching playoff series at home. A lot of people were asking that because, we hadn't clinched a series at home. We hadn't clinched a series on home ice since 2008, and ironically, that was against the Wild. And it was just it was a disaster. That first period was a complete disaster. They scored within the first minute, and then Nick Foligno puts in two like that. I mean, it had Avs fans kind of bashing Mackenzie Blackwood, even though he had 10 saves the first period. He tried his best. The whole team was just not playing well. And of course, Avs fans were left hoping that things would improve. Well, this is a start. This is a start. There were 9 minutes left, which means regulation was more than half over. There were 9 minutes left in the second period when Parker Kelly reflected that puck in, and again, it's a start. It's just and Scott Wedgwood was in net to start the second period, and we did win the period 1-0. But again, it's something. You gotta crawl before you can walk. So it was 3-1. Minnesota still had the lead, and we had one regulation period to go. How would that go? Would the comeback continue, or would Minnesota actually add to it? See, I know the playoffs are supposed to have absolutely nothing to do with regular season individual awards, but this is why Nathan MacKinnon should be a Hart Trophy candidate every fucking year. Okay? We were down to the final 3 minutes. We were 3 minutes away from possibly having to go back to St. Paul, and then Jack Drury channels his channels his uncle Chris and scores in the clutch. Okay, but we still needed to tie the game. We pulled a goalie, extra attackers on there. Nate just gets the puck right to McKinnon, and with careful precision that you've only seen from players like Joe Sakic, boom, bing, in. Tie game. You think Connor McDavid can do that in the clutch? No. Nikita Kucherov? No. Kucherov still having problems scoring goals in the playoffs. Only Nathan MacKinnon is capable of clutch moments like that. He's done it his whole career. You would think people would act like he's done it his whole career, but he only has the one heart where he should have at least four. But he's not thinking about that. He's thinking about that Stanley Cup, which he won in 22. And he tied it up. We actually did have some time to win it in regulation, but overtime commenced. Overtime commenced. Well, I'm not going to complete that. All we needed was one shot, and overtime was crazy. Minnesota actually started with a 2-on-1 breakaway within the first 20 seconds. Thankfully, McCarron swung and missed, like most Wild players do. Anyway, with with closing in on the fourth minute, we get the puck. Natchez wraps around. He still has it. I thought he was going to wrap around and try to put it in himself. Instead, he passed it to Brett Kulak, and I'm. Oh my goodness. We did it at home. At home, mind you. It had been 18 years since we clinched a playoff series at home. And again, that was also against Minnesota. And I think Joe Sakic was still in the league playing. I think he was. But we we finish it off. Brett Kulak, of all people, on a team with McKinnon, McCarr, Natchez, Nichushkin, and Tays and Kadri on it. It's Brett Kulak, who played with Edmonton for a number of years, and those morons gave him away to Pittsburgh, and then Pittsburgh traded him to us. And now here he is. That's not him in the photo, but here he is scoring the series clincher in overtime to result in this. The Western Conference Final. We are conference final bound again. This is the second time during this playoff streak that we're in the Final Four. And of course, this is the first time since our big run in 22 that we're in the conference final. And we finished off the Wild in 5 games. We are 8-1 in this year's playoffs. That one blemish was game 3 in this second round, but we managed to do it. We will represent the Central Division in the Final Four. We joined the Carolina Hurricanes as one of the Final Four teams left. There's still 2 series to go, and the Avs, we're looking so good. We're looking so damn good right now. Of course, we have home ice because we're going to President's Trophy. Game 1's in Denver. I don't know when, though. It could be, if I had to guess, I would think the conference finals probably would start Tuesday. That's if both series go 7. I would think if only one goes 7, it would be moved up a bit. But if neither goes 7, it could probably start maybe around Sunday, I'm guessing. But yeah, so here we are in the Final Four. We finished off the Wild in 5 games, and now we await whoever wins between Vegas and Anaheim in that Pacific series. So that's what happened in Game 5 tonight, and I've been on cloud 9 ever since. I've watched Kulak's goal on a loop already. So here's what will take place tomorrow. And of course, tomorrow we will see the continuation of the remaining 2 series left in the second round, the Atlantic and the Pacific final. First off, at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, it's Game 5 in the Atlantic between the Canadiens and the Sabres. That series is even at 2, and it shifts right back to Buffalo. It shuffles right back out to Buffalo. And that's on TNT. Well, both games are on TNT. And again, it's a 2-2 series. It's a 2-2 series in that one. The winner will move one win away from advancing to the Eastern Conference Final against Carolina. And after that, it's Game 6 in the Pacific between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Anaheim Ducks. The series returns to the OC for that game, and Vegas is up 3 games to 2, one win away from another trip to the conference final in their brief franchise history. Of course, if Vegas wins, they have to face us. So, the Ducks are looking to force a Game 7 back in Sin City, which would actually take place on Saturday, I believe. So, that is my recap of Game 5 tonight. And as you can see, I'm one happy camper. If you like this video, click the like button. If you're on YouTube, click subscribe more. If you're on TikTok and Instagram, feel free to hit that follow button. I'll be back this time tomorrow night to recap these games. So stay tuned.